Chapter 5. The afternoon drifted on quietly. Jessica spent a little while arranging the last few things that had found their place in her new apartment. There was still plenty to do, but for the first time since arriving, she no longer felt overwhelmed. She had come to Pearl's Haven carrying uncertainty. Now, as the sounds of everyday life echoed gently through the building, she found herself wondering what other surprises this unusual place still had in store. A few minutes later, there was a soft knock. Jessica turned. Pearl stood in the doorway, balancing a small tray in her hands. "I brought tea," she said simply. Jessica smiled, stepping aside. "And something to go with it." Pearl moved inside, setting the tray carefully on the counter. 2 cups, a freshly cut loaf of bread, a small jar of deep red raspberry jam. Homemade. Jessica noticed that immediately. "You didn't have to do that," she said. Pearl glanced at her, just slightly amused. "Yes," she replied, "I did." A second set of footsteps followed. Jessica turned to see a man entering behind her, carrying a small patio table under one arm and 2 folding chairs in the other. "This must be Jessica," he said. Pearl nodded. "Jessica, this is James." Jessica offered a small smile. "Hi." James returned it easily. "Thought you might like somewhere to sit outside," he said, already setting the table just beyond the small patio doors. He moved with quiet efficiency, as though this was simply what he did, seeing what was needed and taking care of it without fuss. A moment later, he stepped inside again, glancing toward the kitchen sink. "Heard there was a leak," he said. Jessica nodded. "It's been dripping." James gave a small, thoughtful hum and set to work, tools already in hand. Outside, the afternoon light settled across the patio. Pearl poured the tea while Jessica cut a slice of bread, spreading it carefully with butter before adding a spoonful of raspberry jam. They sat across from each other, the small table just large enough for the 2 of them. For a moment, neither spoke. "You've settled in quickly," Pearl said at last. Jessica looked around. "I didn't do much," she admitted. "People just showed up." Pearl nodded once. "They usually do." Jessica smiled faintly. "I've never seen anything like it." She paused, then added quietly, "I don't think I expected people to care like that." Pearl rested her hands lightly around her tea. "This isn't like most places," she said. Jessica looked up. "It's not meant to be." She glanced out across the grounds, where a few tenants moved about, some heading toward their apartments, others stopping briefly to speak with one another before continuing on. "It's easy for a building to become just that," Pearl continued, "a place where people live, without ever really knowing each other." Jessica nodded slowly. "I've lived in places like that." Pearl's expression remained calm. "I didn't want that here." She took a small sip of her tea. "So we built something different." Jessica listened carefully now. "A community doesn't happen by accident," Pearl said. "It happens when people choose to see each other and take responsibility for more than just their own space." The words weren't heavy, but they carried weight. Jessica looked down at her cup, then back up again. "That's what this is," she said quietly. Pearl met her gaze. "Yes." Inside, the sound of tools clicking softly against metal could be heard as James worked steadily at the sink. From somewhere further down the hall, a child's laughter rose briefly and then faded. Life, moving, connected. Jessica let out a slow breath. "I think I understand it a little now." Pearl gave a small, approving nod. "That's enough for today." They sat quietly for a while longer. No pressure, no expectation, just the simple presence of something steady, something that had been built with care, and was now becoming part of Jessica's life, piece by piece. The apartment had grown still. The soft hum of activity that had filled the building through the afternoon had settled into a quiet evening rhythm, distant footsteps, a door closing somewhere above, the faint echo of voices now and then drifting through the hall. Jessica sat at the small kitchen table. In front of her lay a Bible, a notepad, and a pen. For a moment she didn't move. Then slowly she bowed her head. "Thank you," she whispered. The words came without effort, not rehearsed, not structured, just real. "Thank you for today." She paused, searching for more, but not forcing it. For bringing me here." Her voice softened further. "For answering something I didn't even know how to ask." A small breath followed. She rested her hand lightly on the open cover of her Bible. "I don't know what I'm doing yet," she admitted quietly. "But I want to." Her fingers tightened slightly against the edge of the page. "I want to know you, for myself." Not the way someone else had explained it, not through layers of instruction, not through fear of being wrong, but because it's true. She lifted her head slowly, her eyes settling on the Bible before her. The New World Translation, familiar, comforting, and complicated all at once. Taking a quiet breath, she opened it, not to a specific place, not with a plan, just open. Her eyes fell almost immediately to a single line, and she stopped. "Even if my own father and mother abandon me, Jehovah himself will take me in." Psalm 27:10. Her breath caught. For a moment she didn't move at all. The words didn't feel like something she was reading. They felt like something that had found her. Slowly she lifted her gaze, not fully upward, just enough. And in the quietest way, she thanked him. No words this time, just acknowledgement. The room remained still, but it no longer felt empty. After a while, the weight of the day began to settle over her. Not heavy, just enough to remind her how much had happened. She closed the Bible gently, setting it beside the notebook. The pen remained where it was, unmarked, for now. A warm bath followed, the soft rise of steam, the quiet stillness, the chance to let everything slow down. And when she finally slipped into bed, the exhaustion she had been holding at bay gave way all at once. For the first time in a long while, she didn't lie awake thinking. She didn't replay conversations. She didn't question everything. She simply slept. Deeply, peacefully, as if, somehow, she had been carried there.